So, real quick, before we get to the next caller, what our chat room so wonderfully gave me a segue to was that the amazing Cardinal Powell has been found guilty. So an Australian jury has found Cardinal George Pell, 77, guilty of 5 charges of historical child sexual offenses that go back decades.
And I love that term. Can we please
have a round of applause for the jury it was a 12-member jury. It was a unanimous verdict. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You know, I'm not familiar with Australian law. But I'm very curious and interested about the concept of historical childhood sexual offenses because I do recognize that there are statutes of limitations on a number of crimes, and I think that makes good sense from like a complete overview perspective. But when it comes to, hey, we found out that you fucked like a bunch of kids a long time ago, that can't be something that we just forget on past.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially given circumstances around, you know, children and the power dynamic and how that can take decades and sometimes never be resolved.
I mean, how many adult women feel comfortable, you know, confronting their accusers, of filing reports, of going through our bullshit legal system? Yeah, absolutely. I think men even more so are uncomfortable with reporting. Even if they're a smaller proportion of the number of victims, they do exist, and their likelihood of reporting is infinitesimally smaller.
Right. So
it's also different depending on people reporting things that happened when they are adults or near adults is different, because most of the ones that were assaulted as children were raped as children, were groomed.
Absolutely.
And there's an extra element of shame there of how could I let myself be groomed, you know, for this, you know, how could I put myself in the position? They take some of the ownership of that because, you know, clearly there were 20 other kids there, but somehow I was the one that was picked, and they knew I was going to be silent, and they knew a way to make me silent. It can take a lifetime to even get to understand what happened well enough to want to talk about it with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, at least we're seeing some children are seeing some justice from a, what do you call them, a higher up in the Catholic Church. So let's go on to our next call.
I was going to say, fuck you, Cardinal Pell, but then I realized that might be a compliment. So, Cardinal Pell, you got what you deserved, you piece of shit.
Yeah, it's a multifaceted word that can get very confusing. So, to be very clear, that guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
and
we're in agreement?
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on, and not in a good way.
Not in a good way.
So, let's go on to
Get consent from the horse.
Yeah.